All right, I have had a few requests to make a video on the steps that we needed to take in order to establish a homeschool in North Carolina and then briefly go over the curriculum that we chose. So, I would say the first step in order to establish a new school is you have to go to the North Carolina Department of Non-Public Education, and they have a website. The website is ncadmin.nc.gov. So if you go to that website, there are a few things that you need to know ahead of time. You need to know your homeschool name, and it's okay. You can sleep on that or take as long as you need, because once you choose your homeschool name, you cannot change it in the future. And the homeschool name should be something that sounds professional enough to be on a transcript in the future. And also, it could potentially be on a diploma if you were to homeschool all the way through high school graduation. So just keep that in mind when choosing a homeschool name. It's something that should sound professional and tailored and just something that would look good on paper. So my husband and I literally thought of ideas for like a month. And it probably took us like a solid 4 weeks to come up with a name or a list of names and then narrow them down to the one that we ended up picking. It's also totally okay if your homeschool name is a duplicate of somebody else's. So luckily ours is not, so I feel, extra unique, but there are a ton of like duplicates in the system, and it's totally fine because your homeschool will have a unique number associated with it that nobody else will have. It's almost like a social security number, if you will. So your homeschool name will have a unique number affiliated, and that's like your homeschool identification number. I forget what they call it, but it's something like that. So anyway, so we went to the website and ncadmin.nc.gov, and when you click on that, on the left hand side, it's just going to have a big thing right there that says homeschool. So go ahead and click on that, and when you do that, it's going to bring you to yet another page, and it's going to have like, there's an apple, or actually it's moving now, but there's like different infographics that are popping up on the screen. So you want to choose the one that says Homeschool Notice of Intent. So go ahead and click on that, where it says File a Notice of Intent to establish a new homeschool. And it's going to bring you yet again to another page where you want to go down to where it says File a Notice of Intent and click on Opening a New Homeschool. And again, you're going to want to click I agree. And once you click on I agree, it's going to give you like this little reminder box here, because you're going to need evidence of a diploma or proof of graduation or something. You only need to submit one, but you do need to have a high school diploma or a transcript, or a college diploma or transcript, etc., or GED, or active military credentials for each teacher. So right now, I am the only operating teacher of our homeschool, so I just had to submit proof of graduation, which I was able to do right here through this website. So I actually just had to get a copy of my transcript from my high school, and they were able to email it to me within a few days of my request, and I just attached it as a PDF to the North Carolina Department of Non-Public Education website, and I submitted it with my letter of intent. So once you submit your letter of intent, and of course you provide proof of graduation, the North Carolina administration, they will email you probably within a week. I think it's like 5 to 7 business days, and I think I heard back on like day 3 that our homeschool had been approved and it was open. Technically, it was like open for educational purposes at that point. So I got my email from them, and I took, in the email, it'll have like a 2-page PDF basically of like your name, the address, the state in which you reside, your homeschool name, your homeschool identification number, And it basically proves that you're an operating homeschool. So I printed that out, and then I took that with me to my children's school, like their public school, and I filled out the appropriate withdrawal paperwork because I didn't want to do the withdrawal without having the homeschool identification number in the event that I got pushback. But I did not, actually. They were really easy. It was like super simple. People do it all the time. There's so many homeschools in the state of North Carolina that it's just, and it's becoming so popular that it was literally, they didn't care. I was worked up over it, but I didn't need to be. So I filled out the withdrawal paperwork, and as soon as your homeschool is up and running, you are free to pull your kids in homeschool. I actually waited a few weeks. I wanted to wait until the end of the quarter. I didn't want to pull them in the middle of the quarter. I didn't want to pull them in the middle of like a lesson or give them a couple more weeks with their friends, whatever. So do it as you see fit, but we waited until the end of the quarter. So that was on Halloween. So they came home on the bus just like normal, and that was it. That was their last day of school. So it was really refreshing and wonderful. We got their report cards, came home as normal. Actually, I did have to remind them to send it in the mail. Normally they come home with the kids, but they actually held them for a couple extra days and sent them in the mail. So those came to our house, and that was it. So in between, I just want to mention, in between public school and homeschooling, it's recommended from like everybody that I have talked to that you do a period of deschooling. So not to be confused with unschooling, because if you type in unschooling into Google or into Pinterest or something, you're going to come up with a million different results. Unschooling is a method of homeschooling. Deschooling is literally what it sounds like. You deschool. You're on break. You're taking time to decompress and literally forget the day-to-day of school, because your kids are coming home to be getting their education at home, but they don't have to raise their hand to go to the bathroom. They don't have to raise their hand to answer or ask a question, right? So you want to take time. We're calling it fall break. So we are still in fall break. We decided that we were going to take a month off to deschool. Now, some things on Google or Pinterest that I have read have actually suggested that you deschool for 1 month for every year that the kids were in school. So my older son is a 5th grader, so that would mean I take 6 months off from school for him. And my other son is a 3rd grader, so I would have to take 4 months off for deschooling for him. So I thought that was a little bit excessive. We're also not going to homeschool year round. We are going to do traditional summers, and we're going to also observe the holidays like normal, but I just felt like we needed a time to decompress. And they were both coming down with a cold. We needed to get rid of that. We needed to get back on regular sleep habits, because I hate to say it, but at public school, the kids are up at like 6 in the morning. They're home at 2:30, and then we're like doing homework, doing our mandatory, 30 minutes worth of reading every night, which is like a huge thorn in my side, because honestly, kids read all day, whether they know it or not. My kid reads when he's playing Minecraft or when he's playing like Fortnite, the other one. Like, there's reading involved everywhere. I just don't see the need to sit down, of course, like after activities and bedtime and dinner and all that, and like shove a book in his face and be like, okay, you have to read now for 30 minutes, because he doesn't want to read then. He wants to read when he wants to read, whether it's in the car or at the doctor's office or, on a road trip or something. So anyway, my rant is over. So we're technically still in our deschooling period, and I'm calling it fall break. We're going to start after Thanksgiving. We're going to start on December 2nd officially with homeschool. Now, of course, over the last couple weeks, we have been doing some educational things here at home. we have we stream our TV, like our TV channels and stuff. So I was able to get a really good deal for Curiosity Stream, and they have so many educational programs and like specials and things on, literally anything that you can think of is on Curiosity Stream. And I think my subscription was like $2.99 for the month. So $2.99 each month. So it was super cheap. So I highly recommend that. And I think you can get it on like a tablet or a smart TV also. But like I said, we have a Roku, so that's how we get our TV. So we've been doing like they sleep a little bit later every morning than they normally would. I mean, they're certainly not up at 6. And I just make sure during this like deschooling period to do at least one educational thing every day, even if it means like over lunch we sit down and watch a Curiosity Stream, which might take like an hour or an hour and a half. But it is educational, and they do get a lot out of it, and it does spark some really good discussions. And kids are like sponges. Like they watch these shows, and the majority of them, like 99%, are really well done. There were a few, like I was trying to find one on honeybees, and it was just not good. The intro was dragging on and on and on for like a solid 5 minutes, and I was like, okay, we've lost the kids. We can't watch this one. But yeah, so many of them are really, really good quality and so informative. Like they'll watch it maybe in the middle of the day, and then they'll talk about it at dinner. Like they really enjoy watching those. So during our deschooling period, that's kind of been the gist. We're basically on a break, but we do try and do at least one educational thing every day, which is usually watching a good video. So, but like I said, we're going to start back up on December 2nd, which is the first Monday of December. So that is the story on how we established our school and the deschooling period. Now, I'm going to just briefly talk about the curriculum that we chose, which there are a million different types of curriculums out there. There are religious-based curriculums, and there are secular curriculum. And a secular curriculum is non-religious. So that's what we chose for our kids. We knew that we did not want to have religion overlap into their education. We just wanted to keep the two separate. So that's called secular homeschooling or secular curriculum methods. You can type in all of that into Google or Pinterest or Instagram or whatever, and you'll come up with a whole bunch of results, which is kind of neat. Those are also some different resources that I use that I mentioned. I use YouTube a lot. I use Instagram, believe it or not, to connect with other homeschoolers. Same thing. If you do a search on Facebook, you can easily find a local Facebook group that you can be a part of, and you just request to join, and then you can ask a million questions. One thing I found being a new homeschooler is that well-seasoned homeschool people love to talk about homeschooling, and they really don't. It really doesn't matter if it goes religion or non-religion. In my experience, I've heard from other people that people who go to the, what are they called? The, whatever, like the groups, like they'll do like meetups. And I've heard that some people kind of get, I don't know, the wrong impression from if they're not on the same curriculum, view as far as, I don't know, I don't want to talk about religion, but you get my point. Like, you'll get people that are like super into it and super gung-ho, and then you'll get people that are like, I don't care. I don't honestly care about bringing the Bible into my children's day-to-day studies. It's not important. So for me and my husband, we didn't want there to be an overlap. So the best part about homeschooling in North Carolina is that it's super flexible. So you can literally make a list of your child's needs and then develop a curriculum for that. like for their specific needs and interests. So, for example, for math, so I made a course catalog for myself, mainly because I'm a very visual person, and my kids, I wanted them to get excited, and I also just wanted to have a reference guide. Like, if, one day I was drawing a blank and I didn't know what to do for math, I would have a website for them to go to do math. So, my younger son, he very much is still into Minecraft. So if you go on to Pinterest or Google or Instagram, you can type in Minecraft math and you'll find like supplemental math worksheets. Same thing, like if you go to Target or the learning stores or Walmart, I think has them, Amazon definitely has them. You can search for, or you can go in the book section and look for the those educational workbooks. They're like really thick, and you can get them like, they're good for like over the summer to like bridge the gap. So it's literally the same thing. So for my younger son, who we're still working on mastery of the basics, we're still working. It's just, that's where he's at right now. And that's okay because we're homeschooling. He doesn't need to be doing long division right now in 3rd grade. He's not there yet. So for us, for homeschooling, we forget about standards. We forget about where everybody else is at. We don't compare ourselves to anybody else. For him or for my other son, we just do what's best for him. So right now, that is mastering the basics and finding confidence in the basics. Because once he has that confidence and he knows that his multiplication tables, up to 9 or whatever, once he has that confidence, we can then build on the confidence for the stuff that might come a little more difficult for him. So we're doing Minecraft math. So it's literally supplemental worksheets. And then if I see that he's struggling with, addition or subtraction or something, we can go back and just kind of scrub it clean and start over, or I can help him. But really for him, it's all confidence based. For my older son, who is a self-starter, he's very proficient. He's always taken like the AIG courses. He's like a little bit ahead of the game. We use Khan Academy. So it's KHAN academy.org. It's a free service. And on there, he can go on and do math. And I can actually track. There's a few apps I have on my iPad. You just have to search on your iPad or whatever device you have. But there's definitely a way to like track progress, see like if he has mastered a skill. It'll tell you. It's very simple. The other thing that I'm sure you've heard of is IXL. You can use IXL for free at home. So for my younger son, we're still doing the IXL.com/math.grade3 for him. And he still goes on and plays in the account and works on what he can. And I like it because it'll tell him, like, if he does a math equation and he does it correctly, it'll say, brilliant, you've done a great job. But if he gets it wrong, it'll break it down for him and show him the steps. And we do that together. The other thing for math that I really like, but I haven't actually purchased, is elephantmath.com. It's a subscription-based math program. It's $35 a month, but supposedly you get 1 year of math taught in 3 months. So I really like that for my older son. He's, like I said, he's very proficient. He's a self-starter. He will just, he would like that flexibility. Just log in and go. He's not going to be held back. If he wants to go, further, he can. So if you're creative, right, you can literally create any type of curriculum. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do it specifically geared towards my kids' interests, geared towards our lifestyle, and also curriculums can be super expensive. And I didn't want to invest a ton of money in the onset in the very beginning for someone who's in 5th grade and 3rd grade. I just didn't want to do that. So I wanted to make a curriculum based around their interests and our lifestyle. Now we have family that live in Florida, and we have family that live on the coast of North Carolina. Well, coincidentally, we're also going to be doing a lot of visiting with both sets of those parents, those in-laws. My in-laws are on the coast of North Carolina, and my parents are down in Florida. So coincidentally, we're just going to be frequenting both areas of the country, and so therefore I wanted to tie science into that for those two exact reasons. So I literally made a class called Marine and Coastal Science 1, and that's going to be the study of the marine environment and its interactions with the earth. So literally we're going to go out to the coast of North Carolina and do a deep dive of the marine environment that you see out there. Also, how does that contrast between maybe the marine environment that you're going to find in Florida on the coast of, on the Gulf Coast, right? Those are two totally separate, environments. Like one, it's very unique. We're also going to make the kids, we're going to enforce a science journal. We want them to be taking pictures and sketching drawings and doing watercolor and painting. You might find manatees and alligators and seahorses and smaller tropical fish on the coast of Florida, whereas, in the Albemarle Sound, for example, which happens to be where my in-laws live, they just caught and tagged and re-released a 500-pound great white shark, like literally right where we swim. So that was insane. Again, two totally different marine environments, and luckily for us, we have access to both. So we're going to use that. We also have another class called North Carolina's Waterways and Its Inhabitants. My kids love to fish. They eat, breathe, sleep fishing. Especially during the summertime. I mean, if that would be their number one go-to activity, is to go stand on a dock or a pier or off a boat and fish. instead of just sending the kids out to go fishing, at my in-laws' house or down at my parents' house, we're going to do a deep dive into the study of the marine environment and the creatures that inhabit it. For example, again, the great white shark that they just found in the Albemarle Sound, but also we have caught whitefish, trout, largemouth bass. Also, we have seen but not caught an alligator gar, which is super interesting to my kids. So again, we're tailoring our science to our lifestyle and to the things that interest the kids. We're going to have to go to the library. We're going to have to pull up Google. We're going to have to go on some more websites and do some deeper investigative work. Again, we're kind of learning together. This isn't my forte. This isn't my wheelhouse necessarily, but it's going to be, and we're going to learn together. The other thing for history, so that was science. For history, again, we literally made our own curriculum. My kids love the Albemarle Sound. They've grown up there for summers out there, and guess what? There's a huge pirate presence out there, if you would believe it, historically. That's where Blackbeard sailed, and he also dumped all of his gold and all of his loot and stuff. He dumped it all overboard out there. So it is so cool to be able to discover the history of Blackbeard and why he sailed so closely to our shores. Again, this ties into our lifestyle, and it also ties into the kids' interests. Okay, and so the other thing for history is that my husband loves that Ancient Aliens show on the History Channel. I do too. My kids love it. So that's another one that would be supplemental that we would sit, maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Maybe we'll watch an Ancient Aliens program, and it's really cool. They talk about different theories, whether you buy into and believe into the whole alien thing, that's a whole nother section, but they really do go into from dinosaurs to ancient Egypt to the cave drawings to alien, mass sightings or whatever. It's just, I don't know, it's a really cool, like, philosophical approach to that topic, but it also incorporates other stuff too. So my kids love that. We are calling it a class, and we're going to use it as supplement for history. Now, we're not going to do this. This is just for this school year. So this is just for 3rd grade and 5th grade of this year. We may carry some of these things over into next year, or I may just create a whole new course catalog for next year. So that's that. English and language arts. So believe it or not, my kids have never read any of the Harry Potter books. They just haven't. It wasn't something that was interesting to them. But we are going to do, I developed a class. It's called Reading and Writing for Muggles. And it's literally the introduction to grammar and composition, grammar instruction, sentence crafting, the Latin roots, and a literary essay at the end. You can take that and you can dummy it way down for, say, like a 1st grader, and you don't even have to do it with a Harry Potter book. You could do it with, a letter, one of the letter books or one of the Just Right books. You can do that for them. For my 5th grader, this is going to be very straightforward and totally fine. He'll start reading the very first Harry Potter book. He can go through and highlight any words that he may not understand or that we want to do a little deep dive on and learn about, like, the Latin roots. And then at the end, I'm going to have him write an essay on something, probably like an opinion, and like an opinion essay, and he's going to write it and I'm going to grade it, and we'll work on, grammar and crafting an appropriate sentence and paragraphs and all that. We're also going to do a creative writing class, which is where we're going to piggyback on the skills that we learned from the Muggles, and then we're going to compile steps needed to create a persuasive essay, which I thought was really fun because it sounds boring, but if you give your kid a chance to write an essay on something that he or she wants to try and persuade you to do or to buy or to think about or consider, it's awesome. Like, my older son wants to go hunting in the worst way. Like, he is dead set, wants to do it. Like, my husband hasn't been hunting in 10 years. Like, we're going to make it happen, but so that's something like, come on, give me the essay. I want to see your reasoning behind it. I want to see your thought process and, the steps that you think are appropriate in order to do that, etc. We're also going to do, in our creative writing, I actually had the kids do a Christmas list, and it's not just a list of a bajillion things that they want for Christmas. It's a list of things that they want for Christmas and why. So you can't just put that you want a puppy. It's, I want a puppy because I'm working on being responsible or something like that. And for the record, we're not getting a puppy. So we're going to do a persuasive essay, a Christmas list, a complete story. We're going to do a report on 2 topics that interest you strongly, and we're also going to write a letter and go to the post office. I know that's super kindergarten, like everybody goes to the kindergarten, the police station, whatever, in kindergarten, but we're going to do how to write a letter and exactly what you need, like, to mail it. Like, no one mails anything anymore. Like, so we're going to teach the kids, you need postage, you need an envelope. This is how you structure the letter. This is how you address a letter. Oh, and by the way, you need however much money to purchase the appropriate amount of postage for the letter. So it's going to be a whole big thing. The other thing that we're going to do for English and language arts is note-taking 101 and cursive handwriting without tears. Both of those skills, I feel, go kind of get brushed off to the side. So my son is in 5th grade, and my younger son is in 3rd grade, and both kids learned a little bit of cursive in 2nd grade. They learned more cursive in 3rd. My 5th grader does not know how to take notes at all. They might watch a video, but these are skills that he would need to take to master for middle school if he was going to go to traditional middle school. And also, this is just stuff that they need to know. So we're going to really push cursive handwriting and note taking. Both of those I feel are super basics, and they're going to need them as they grow. And we don't know if we're going to do homeschool for the next year or 2 or 3, or if it's something that we're going to go all in and go all the way to high school. We don't know yet. So either way, those are 2 definite skills that they're going to need, whether they stay homeschool or not. We also have something fun for geography planned. My husband travels from time to time, so we're just going to do we're literally going to follow him on the map, and we have Life 360, so we're going to follow him as he's traveling, and then he travels to some of the major cities, so sometimes we may be able to go with him, and other times we're just going to follow him and learn some facts about the city that he's in. The other thing for specials, so we're going to do workshop with Dad, we're going to do art, and we're going to do athletics. So for the workshop, they love to do they like building birdhouses, they want to build an RC car, they want to build a drone, that type of stuff. Over the summer, they built a big owl house. We really need a bat box for our backyard because we have tons of bats. So that would be really cool. Arts, I'm all about any type of arts. There's like a little art studio in Waxhaw that we could go to and visit. I don't know, I'm just all about giving the kids paper and tons of art materials and letting them go. Athletics. So a lot of times people are going to say, well, how do you keep your kids involved, or how do you keep your kids social? So we are going to probably enroll in a soccer program and potentially a golf program in the spring. It's kind of up in the air. We do try and do one thing physical every day, weather permitting. Maybe we'll go for a walk, or we'll take the dogs outside and play. My kids love kicking a soccer ball around. They also used to both play lacrosse, so they'll pick up their lacrosse gear and go shoot on the rebounder in the backyard. So again, we always try and do one thing physical every day and one thing educational every day, especially during this time of deschooling. So that's really it for specials. Both of my kids are kind of into music. They both want to play piano and guitar, so we're going to start back up with piano lessons. They have a guitar that they can share, so they kind of go on YouTube. It's super easy. You'll just do YouTube for beginners or YouTube kids guitar lessons or whatever, and then you just type it in and they will literally practice guitar alongside the person on YouTube. One other thing that I thought was interesting was I thought it would be special to do a community outreach. I want to give back because we are blessed enough to be able to homeschool, and I'm able to stay home right now with my kids in homeschool. So for the betterment of the community, we thought that it would be important to do a book drive or a dog food drive and drop off dog food at the animal shelter, or drop off books at Living Children's, or I know you can collect onesies for kids at the Ronald McDonald House, stuff like that. So now, based on the curriculum that I created, we cover math, science, history, English, geography. We have specials covered. We have a social study, community outreach. We also do technology with iPads, and there's a million different websites. You just have to Google it for typing. You can do STEAM. You can find STEAM activities on YouTube. You can find robotics or art also on YouTube. Those are just some of the high level. I have a list somewhere also, but that's really it. I know people who are super into homeschooling can talk on the subject forever, but that's literally it for now. I think I covered pretty much everything. Again, we just wanted to keep our curriculum non-secular. Secular rather. We wanted to keep it fun. We wanted to have it so it overlapped in our real life. Now listen, like if you have, say you have a daughter who loves horses, so you could do an equine science, and there are so many books on the topic at the bookstore and at the library and on YouTube. She could do a week, a riding camp for a week at some of the local barns. We'll do that like in the summer for like a summer camp where she's gonna really learn, like get that 4-H experience, and also learn a little bit about grooming and taking care of an animal, just like putting that animal's needs first before her own, that sort of thing. If she likes dogs or cats or pets, a lot of the veterinary offices will offer like a junior vet clinic where same thing, like over the summer you can do it. It's like for a week, and it'll be like a vet camp, and the kids, they have to be a certain age, but they can go in and kind of shadow the doctors and see all that. So really make a list of the reasons why you want to homeschool, and then make a list of the things that your kids are super excited for, and then go from there. It all depends on, your state's guidelines and requirements. And if you're in a state like I am in North Carolina, where it's very lax, it's very relaxed, it's very not in your face, then I have the freedom and flexibility to go at my kids' paces. I can take it slow for my younger son, or I can just let my older son continue, say for math, and keep it fluid, and more than anything, keep it fun. Because what I have found out is that my kids, while they had some great teachers, they hated school. They hated traditional school because there's so much time during the day that's wasted. They're standing in line waiting. They're trying to stand in line at the library where they have to be quiet. They're, wasted. I don't need my kids to be in school to eat lunch. Like, I don't know. I'm just go to school, learn, get the basics, come home. It could probably take like 2 or 3 hours, to be honest. We do a lot of extracurricular activities, and but keep it fun. That's the biggest thing. And I think that's it for now. Okay, bye.